I was going to open up with a joke about the Mages Guild, but it was a little bit too conjured up. What's going on, YouTube? It is the weekend, so we are with tons of people who are here and excited inside the Hollow City, inside of Cold Harbor, outside the Plane of Existence, to go over our first of 2 weekend vendors. And we have more plants this week, it looks like, but these are special plants because these are Apocrypha plants. Now, you would think they would be green because Apocrypha is known for its green hues, but they're actually blue for some reason. But don't worry, we also have mushrooms that look like leaves. And if that doesn't tickle your pickle, do not worry, because we have a second golden vendor to go over. But overall, we look at these items for a few reasons. Are any of these valuable? Should you purchase them? I do think that there's a little bit of niceness to these mushrooms. They do actually put off light. You can see their furnishing behavior is light. For 5,000 gold, it's okay. If you want to light up the inside of your house, have a little bit of illumination, it's passable. And next up, we have our traditional golden vendor, which you can find at your Northern High Rock Gate. If you're in blue, if you're in another alliance, well, ask yourself why. But before we jump into this one, just please hit the like and subscribe button. I try to do very fast YouTube intros, but let's see what the golden vendor has in store for us. And we start with Draugr Heritage. Now, this set is interesting because it actually comes from the Rift, which, if you know anything about the Rift, probably something that you want to avoid. It's 2, 3, and 4 are healing taken, health, and health. 5-piece, when you take damage while under 35% health, you knock down all enemies within 4 meters of you for 2 seconds, and you heal for 13,280 health. This can occur once every 7 seconds and scales off of your maximum magicka or max stamina. Now, this set actually used to be worse. It used to be every 20 seconds, so it's actually been buffed pretty significantly. But here's the problem that sets like these have, is that generally, and there's a perfect set that encapsulates this later down in the Golden Vendor, you want to be in control of when your stuff procs. You don't want to have to like intentionally wait for yourself to get below 35% health for something positive to happen. Now, granted, you're getting quite a bit of health back. You're also, doing a knockdown. So those things are good, but usually you want to have a little bit more leeway into when your procs are going to be going off. All that to say, this is probably like between a 6 and a 7 when it comes to a set. You could certainly build this into some good utilization, but overall, there's just so many better sets to pick from. Next up is another base game set, Twin Sisters. Now, this set was actually nerfed, so does that mean it's any good? When you block, you cause all enemies within 5 meters of you to bleed for 7242 bleed damage over 10 seconds. This can occur once every 10 seconds and scales off your weapon or spell damage. So if you wanted to make an unkillable block build that was not very good, you could use this set to do so. For those of you who don't know, I made an unkillable block tank that when you blocked, it dealt damage to everything around you, because I thought, if I could get this bad boy through Maelstrom Arena, I could show the ESO player base that there's hope, right? That like you could go out and you could do some harder content, and all you need to do is hold the block button. Imagine if you could actually attack. And it took me hours just to get through the first arena, so not worth it, but physically possible. All of that to say, you probably aren't going to use a set like this. Yes, you could use something like this to be like an annoying block tank in PvP, I guess. I don't see this being super good for PvE. I mean, yes, you're doing some type of damage, but over 10 seconds, you're doing like, 700 damage a second. Now, granted, you could build a max weapon or spell damage to get this even higher, but like, why? I'm just going to give this set like a 5. It's doesn't have a home in any sort of like major content. Next up from Fungal Grotto 1 and 2 is Spider Cultist. Now, this is crit chance, max mag, weapon and spell, and 600 weapon and spell damage to your destruction staff abilities. There is a version of this for two-handed, and that is actually really popular for bonking people. So how does it stack up when you've got the Destro ability one? Well, it's fine. I mean, I think that if you put all of your scribing skills and a lot of brain power into building a set, you could build like a 7 out of 10 PvP set with this, because Destro ult is pretty good. The other Destro abilities are fine. You could certainly also even use like the Masters, Inferno, or Lightning Staff to do some crazy like weapon and spell damage pushing for a mag build. But overall, it's just very cattywampus to try to use this, unfortunately, versus its two-handed brethren. Next up is Widowmaker. Now, this one is from Cradle of Shadows, I believe. Let me just double check here. Yep, Cradle of Shadows. Now, this set used to be an actual Widowmaker. You'd be sending people to the Shadow Realms, breaking people's thumbs. Unfortunately, it's been nerfed. But now, when your alchemical poisons fires, you drop a poisonous spore in front of you that bursts after 1 second, dealing 10,000 damage. Poison damage over 10 seconds. All it matters is the 5 meters. So it's like, ooh, it's a lot of damage, and then it's like, oh, but it's over 10 seconds. So it's 1,000 damage a second. But you could like do it multiple times because the cooldown, but also like there's a lot of ways that you can do 1,000 damage every second to a person pretty consistently. Yes, you could build weapon or spell damage to get this even higher. And in those situations, yes, you could build this set still really efficiently. You know, DKs used to love this set because of all the poison shenanigans they could do at close range. But overall, this set is kind of like a remnant of the past. I'll give it a 7.0. That just is more so to respect how good it used to be. But these days, unless you can really find some crazy ways to like boost your weapon and spell damage to get this really high and keep proccing alchemical poisons consistently, you're just going to be outpaced by like everything. Next up, we have one of the best one-piece sets in the game, and that is Baron Thirsk. You can get 124 stamina and magicka recovery. Now you might be thinking, Jake, where's the health recovery? Health recovery is doo-doo for PvP. You don't want it. Battle Spirit makes it hot garbage. So if you needed a decent one-piece recovery set, this is not too bad. Its two-piece is just whimsical. I actually own this set because I made like a Green Goblin build because I had stuff that made my character look like the Green Goblin. And I thought throwing explosive scamps at people was humorous. So I'm just going to save you a lot of reading and me a lot of reading and just tell you that this is not a very good set to use. Even if you're trying to make the most lore accurate Green Goblin build ever. And yes, minor timidity can be neat, but like one, that's completely useless for PvE. And for PvP, people could still outpace your minor timidity with minor heroism, which they're pretty much always going to have. So you're basically just slowing their ultimate down ever so slightly. And I just like, of all the ways you could use a two-piece set, that is the most whimsical. And it's not very helpful to you. Yes, your damage does increase for each spawned scamp. It comes in and deals damage, but we're not hitting high numbers here. I tried, trust me. But I do feel like he looks pretty close to the Green Goblin. Like, admittedly, I went for more of the purple hues versus like the Hobgoblin orange or too much of the greens, but you know, it came out all right. And that was from the Imperial City Prison. But what comes from the White Gold Tower? One piece of weapon and spell damage, not too shabby if you need a one piece. And then it's two piece when you consecutively light attack 2 times, you trigger overkill for 6 seconds, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 541. But it does also increase the cost of your abilities by 8%. This effect can occur every 6 seconds. I love sets like these. I love them. One, it's a shoulder, so you're saving your Undaunted Keys, which is one of the more annoying currencies to farm. And two, we talked earlier about sets being annoying to proc, because it's like, hey, you guys got to get me below 35%, and they just drop you to 36%, and they just spit in your face, and they're like, Pooh, no, we're not going to do it. And you're like, oh, well, I guess my set's just not going to do anything. Here, you control it. You go, I'm going to light attack twice. Boom, now I get my weapon and spell damage proc. And importantly, the drawback is the increase of your cost of abilities, but you know when you're going to trigger your overkill. So this set used to be like the standard, before mythics, go to magicka, or even sometimes stamina, way to build weapon and spell damage and get crazy numbers on builds that utilize weapon and spell damage. Like Templars, love this set. This was the Templar set to go to. These days, unfortunately, mythics have outpaced it. I don't know if I would consider this like a staple set anymore for PvP, but I would still give it like a 9 out of 10. It's fantastic. You can proc this with all of the other things that you can control when they proc. Put this with like Clever Alchemist, even Mechanical Accruity, which you can't necessarily tell when it's going to proc, but you know when it's procced. You know, it's a little bit more percentage based, but then when your Mechanical Accruity fires, do 2 light attacks and boom, you are hitting like crazy on an enemy. Or Rallying Cry, you know, you proc this after your Rallying Cry procs. Use Clever Alchemist, drink a potion, boom. Then do 2 light attacks. You are cooking with your weapon and spell damage. That's the biggest thing about PvP that gets overlooked is like you need to do burst. Because people, if you're hitting them with a pool noodle, they're just going to heal themselves. They're going to just be like, okay, this pool noodle is inconvenient for me, but I'm just going to heal it. If you start hitting them with like an extra 1,200 weapon and spell damage off of all of your procs sets, like you're going to be cooking them. So that's why I love this set, and that's why I think it's a great recommendation for PvP. Not a staple anymore. Before mythics, you know, got as good as they were, like before the Sea Serpent's Chain, you know, even before Malakaz's Band of Brutality, even that kind of, when it first came out before it got nerfed, like that kind of put this set to the wayside. But these days, still holds up. But everyone, thank you guys so much again for watching. We're going to be redoing our background here soon because I actually have a nameplate that has like my YouTube emblem on it. So I'm going to try to rearrange this to look a little bit cooler for you guys. So thank you guys for bearing with me throughout the whole YouTube journey as a whole here. You know, it's been an interesting couple years. I don't know why I'm going so far back. Thank you guys for being here for these last couple years. Some of you guys are watching this like, Jake, this is my first ever YouTube video, but no problem, man. So thank you again. We're doing our 3 giveaway drawings. First thing you need to do is leave a like and a comment on the video. The algorithm actually counts those equally. So if you don't have time to leave a comment, just slap a like on some videos. Or if you want to comment, tell me how long have you been watching? What video or went around like 6 months ago when you get back into ESO? Second thing is just make sure you're subscribed. I think we're like 50 subscribers away from our next 100 goal. And the third thing is answer this fun little question. See, I'm doing a question. The first one to get the answer to this correctly in the comments will win. So feel free to leave 2 comments. Say, hey, Jake, I started watching 6 months ago. Also, the answer is blank. What is my favorite ESO dungeon? The first person to get it correctly will get pinned and we'll be getting a giveaway code. So that's your reward to watch to the end of the video. Thank you guys again, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.